these beats are the purest, prove it.
Oh, look at those! And then Booties have won! They are your champions for the second Overwatch League!
They see the Roadhog just chilling over on the left side, so they're going to go in here. What was that? Was it just...
There are the kills! Rialto is not gonna be ringing tonight. The Cantaloupes are your Overwatch League Season 5 champions! And the Picard Machines coming back from behind are gonna taste victory!
Oh, the Ajax to end the season! And the Marshmallow Monsters have won the Booty Bowl! They take home the Ryan Boone Trophy. The favorites the entire season have finished, basically claimed their destiny, it feels like, here in the grand finals. And like the yeast in the oven, they will rise above the competition. Put it in the oven at 425 and set for 16 weeks, and you've got yourself a champion.
The Zealous Zenith take home the Season 4 of Aurora Esports. Big congratulations to all of these players.
We send our worst basketball players, and they send us their best Overwatch players, as Guangdong are your Season 5 champions. And welcome on in, everybody, to the Overwatch Clash Season 6 Muskey Bowl. We are officially going bowling, ladies and gentlemen. The semifinals are upon us. Our top 4 teams have been decided, but a champion has yet to be crowned. We start that journey tonight here with the number 1 seed Ramshackle Roosters taking on the number 4 seed Sydney Seadragons. I'm Booty, and joining me today will be War. And War, honestly, hell of a game ahead of us here right now, because both these teams have looked so strong throughout a regular season, both holding the title of number 1 in the power rankings for multiple weeks throughout the whole season. Now, of course, once you get this deep into the bracket, you can just throw away season records, throw away any awards you might potentially win. It's all on the line right now.
Yeah, and I love how you say throw away basically everything we know about these teams, because I think that's been the story of the entire season. Coming off of seasons where you had these undefeated teams going into playoffs, coming off seasons where you had like strong dominant forces, it feels like these top 4 teams right now, it could really go any which way. They've all beaten each other. You could probably make a, those circles of...
This is the circle of awesomeness.
Yes, this is the circle of awesomeness between these 4 teams, and it can really go any way for the Seadragons, the Roosters, and then also the Quails and the Slouchers in the other side of the bracket.
And of course, I mean, we got to talk about the Seadragons being number 1 in the preseason power rankings, and as typical, losing in the first week, but coming back strong, bouncing back throughout the whole entire season here to get to our number 5 seed, actually, apologies, not number 5. But yeah, our number 5 seed, been doing a bit of an upset against the Purple Apes last week, taking down the 4 seed, but number 1 seed, Ramshackle Roosters, were undefeated most of the way through, but then kind of towards the end has some slippage in the new meta, whereas the Seadragons have looked strong, but again, both these teams winning their last match in a 3-0 fashion, so both looking extremely strong here going into the playoffs. Our first map is going to be Nepal. And kind of an interesting map. We do see a lot of different looks at potentially, but I do feel that there's going to be a heavy dose of Malga between both these teams here, both looking pretty strong on their character last week.
Yeah, and it feels like both these teams, or at least the entire upper bracket, are mostly just meta conformers from what I've seen. They play a meta, play within the meta, or they play some style of it. Obviously, Sonic Chronic last week looked amazing on the Echo, on the Genji, on really whatever complements the team, and compared to the Roosters, who had a gentleman's agreement not to play the Malga, but Wind, especially with all his practice with Mankato, knows the Malga comp like the back of his hand. So I'm very interested to see how these two tanks face off as this map gets started.
And yeah, it looks like going to be a bit of a difference on the meta here. Is going to be the DPS line, the Echo Reaper versus the Ashe and the Mei. I know there's some discussion in the Roosters chat that Casey Dunn can basically just try to shut down this Echo by himself and Pneumonia as well, looking at the Reaper and making it just a Malga on Malga action. And the Roosters seem to have some confidence in that going forward, but now both these teams just kind of poking and prodding here on the point. Sonrock taking the angle, looking to push some damage and give some stickies, but Ari is falling extremely low, forced to retreat for now. A nice wall will isolate a couple members, but here comes the push in by Corey and Melon on the point, forcing them back for now. Pneumonia first to fall, losing out on that Mei utility. Now Melon just charging deep in enemy territory. They're going to get the kills here as the clean for the Seadragons has come. Casey Dunn will get one for their troubles, but that's not going to be nearly enough. The point is in favor of Seadragons.
Yeah, and I really love how the Seadragons play the fight. They used a lot of natural cover, exposed Pneumonia when he went in a bit too deep, forced out that ice block, and then Pneumonia, even though he was back inside the team, Sonic Chronic was able to take those angles so aggressively. Now the Roosters looking to take a very fast approach to this fight again. They're actually going to get the point flip, but the Seadragons jumping right in again. That's what they did all of the game against the Purple Apes. They let the point flip over, but win the fight in the end.
I mean, yeah, just look at that last fight. We saw just EJ getting caught out by a nice charge in from Melon. They did get the point for free, but just a free 10 or so percent because it did lose their Echo late in that last engagement. But now going forward here, a lot of ults on the battlefield for both these squads here. Pneumonia with the Blizzard, but can easily be shut down here with Duplicate by Stonewall, potentially building another Malga cage. Now that's kind of the favorite Duplicate here going in for both these teams. EJ taking a lot of pressure again early in this fight, forcing out a lot of resources and making it really awkward for the engage. But a good pick, though, for Casey Dunn to start things off.
Yeah, Reaper TP is right on top of Casey Dunn, though, so forces out a lot there. The Orbital Ray, the side of the Seadragon, or the side of the Roosters are doing such a good job of fighting inside of it, but they use a lot of ults. They drop the Bob and the Blizzard to clean up this fight and take the point. The question was that exchange a bit too much because they still haven't even flipped the point over.
Oh.
Melon's gonna say this fight's winnable though, force Pneumonia into very precarious position on the point and actually turn this kill, converting it to their side. Sonic also using the duplication here, keeping the Roosters at bay.
Yeah, a really good case there, honestly, by Melon to isolate over on Pneumonia, knowing that he's the last potential beacon of hope for the Roosters on that point contest now. It's last fight territory. You're going to have Death Blossom, but you're walking into a cage, into a rally. The cage is well placed, but Melon just runs past it. Absolutely no fear, gets pulled right back in. Now here comes EJ with the rally in the middle of all this. Melon just taking too much pressure. Corey, Death Blossom in the backline, finding nothing as the EJ rally just gonna be too much here. But here comes the aggression in the backline here. Ari and Corey pushing them back in towards the spawn. The DPS can't do anything, and nobody can touch for the Roosters. And Seadragons looking really clean. You do have to admit, though, that's probably the worst point on this map for the Ashe to work. So a good pull there from the City Seadragons to start off and gives us at a great position to potentially kind of win this counter comp we're seeing from the Roosters trying to make this work, and it really didn't seem to have that many answers here.
Yeah, and I think talking about maps, this is the map where you definitely favor the Ashe with these long sight lines here, be able to hit long-range dynamites. We'll see if Casey Dunn sticks with that or switches to maybe an Echo or some other form of hit scan. Sonic's going to switch over to the Genji here, and I do like this because they're going to be expecting Casey Dunn to stay on the Ashe. He gets to put a little bit more pressure on the back line. Obviously, still has to deal with Pneumonia on the Mei, but has been doing a great job of showing discipline in those DPS 1v1 so far. I
mean, it's also a lot better as well because the ceiling is just so low on this map. The Echo can't really get too far inwards. The Genji can dash in and be aggressive on the back line, so the Seadragons appearing to do a complete loop around the point here, taking, in fact, switching spawns, but both teams looking to take this engagement kind of the same spot. They spot out Corey, though, so they know the Reaper is looking for a flank angle here, spawn that out, but the people chase them down. Do they get the kill, or, oh, a nice wall from Pneumonia. Well, I say over on towards the Reaper, and early pick there. Some good discipline being shown from the Roosters. Getting the early kill. The point will flip here for the Seadragons as they try to push back in on the enemy back line, but Wind just charges back in with a big stomp over onto Auri. Takes the Brigitte out of the fight, stomps on Mommy. You hate to see it. And now the point will go in favor of the Roosters here as they begin to build a percentage. A good pick, though, at the end of the day.
Yeah, great pick. Wind trying to go through a little roll through to try and punish onto that, but they're not going to be able to get one. So the Roosters down 1 in this upcoming fight. They do have a Blizzard on the cards. Pneumonia statistically good at building those up quickly, but the Seadragons, who know how to take these fights smart, they know how to take these fights well around the point. They're going to force Wind to slam in. Pneumonia didn't be able to get 2 kills off of it as well. Even though they trade Wind, this looks like a fight win for the man, the myth, the May himself.
Yeah, bring in the mayhem, if you will. Anyway, yeah, there's a really good flank on there from Pneumonia. What they do is they force out Corey with a headshot, force him to use a Wraith very early in the fight. That makes Wind hit that go button, and with the Malga taking the brunt of the pressure on that right door, it allows Pneumonia to go through that left and put some pressure in the back line. It's a nicely timed headshot over at now Silvertails. And now look at the big orbital rate advantage right now for Tukipuk, a solid 10 or so %, which could decide this fight. Corey, though, looking for TP in on the back line. Dead Blossom looking to put some pressure on him, but the shielding is there for the team. However, Wind falling extremely low. Sunrock frozen on up. A lot of people are split right now, but like you said, a very big freeze coming through, but the reinforcements are still here for both teams, but you got to favor the Malga on the point. Just putting in some pressure. Pneumonia can't quite get a touch either as well. And now Silvertails, half HP, force retreat for now. Melon had the shout, gets on out. EJ has rally, Tukipuk with the override should they need it. Orbital ray out from Silvertails, but the rally in engaged from EJ. Cage comes in from Melon. A lot of open use your orbital ray for survival, as well as the wall out from Casey Dunn. A big torpedo though for Tukipuk puts on a lot of pressure on the Seadragons, and it simply cannot hold up. A lot of Qs being pressed, but at the end of the day, the Roosters will take the control back. And it's last fight territory with Cage to boot. Looking good for them.
And that's the advantage during this May and the Symmetra in such a, I guess, close quarters composition. You can't really take the high ground if you're Sonic Chronic, and they have to fight through all these turrets. They have to fight through the cage fight as well. Nobody can even pass through this when they have to break through and then send themselves towards the point. But a great wall, amazing zoning here from Pneumonia. Might even keep them completely off the point. No, there's going to be a last second touch in from Melon. He dives down straight to point. Wind's going to be forced to recontest, but numbers are not favoring the Roosters. Cardiac gonna be invested from Wind, but it will not be enough. The Seadragons hanging on to life on the second point of the ball.
Yeah, and I mean, a great just counterplay there from Sonron, duplicating the Malga, and they break the cage so quickly. The Seadragons calling that very well, just killing the cage almost instantly. Only locks on Corey. They get the pick, but Sunrock building a free cage of their own off the duplicate looks very good here. But now Pneumonia has the Blizzard, only ult on the field. Corey has to survive here with the Death Blossom in tow in 20 or so %. But looking at Roosters, looking to flip this back, they have a couple fights to work with as well if they need it. But a quick turnaround here for them, going right in that little left room, looking to drop on a point and probably use the Blizzard to make that space for him and probably take this point home and set us over on the village.
Yeah, and I like what Melon's doing. He's looking to keep the distance here. He wants the Roosters to be the first ones to overextend themselves, and the Roosters are going to jump on this point now. Melon going in for the contestation, but a nice wall and also a TP provided for the rest of the team, but it's not going to matter. The Blizzard even dropped on point, but kills going much in favor of the Seadragons. Wind is cleaned up now, just leaving Casey Dunn. The Symmetra pick is not going to be favored here, and now with last fight territory on the cards, the Blizzard effectively wasted from Pneumonia. He's gonna maybe swap over to the Reaper, but no, stick with the May for this final contestation.
I don't understand that Blizzard play at all. You got Melon charging in, getting countercharged by Wind on the ground, can't run away. You have to slow buzz that Malga, take that out of the fight. You probably win it there, but they TP in the backline instead and try to force out an awkward contest. But right now, the aggression is now back in favor of Seadragons. Corey goes in the backline, finds EJ, and both supports are down for the Roosters, and now Pneumonia with no block just trying to 1-1 Reaper. He's stat padding, running back towards spawn, but Corey's there with the shotguns and takes him on down. And 2 shotguns and 2 map points for the Seadragons as they take map 1 in a fairly decisive fashion here, looking very strong in the Malgamir.
And that's, I feel like, what you need to win against a team that knows the meta really well and is willing to play meta versus meta. If you can win that Malgamir, you're already one step ahead. We get to see this play of the game back from Pneumonia, though. He was looking on fire, or I guess on ice, on the May this
That
game.
sounds like the worst musical of all time. On fire, on ice. And yeah, I mean, with that being said, we'll go send ourselves to a quick map break. Do not go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. The Muskey Bowl will continue after this short little break. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back, everybody, to the Overwatch Clash Season 6 Muskey Bowl here between the Ramshackle Roosters and the Sydney Seadragons. The Seadragons taking it to the map choice of the Ramshackle Roosters. They're on Nepal, being a 2-0 victory for them in this kind of amalgam mirror look. And now going into King's Row, probably expecting a little more of the same. But the thing is, as well, Nimona does get subbed out for Allegro, and 10 becomes in for Corey, or then everything else remains the same, kind of the standard rotation for both these squads here going in. But you gotta think that the counter to play that the Roosters had there with the May, with the Ashe, it just couldn't hold up to just the just complete aggression of the Reaper Echo from the side of the Ramshackle, from the Seadragons, and just the Roosters didn't really see too much of a response to it. We'll see if Allegro is the final answer, but I guess I'll have to wait and see. We did see the sim as well from Casey Dunn work fairly good on Sanctum, but gonna be on back on the Ashe here. A little more high ground at King's Row to work with, but still an interesting look.
Yeah, very interesting look for, I guess, both these teams. The Roosters opting to kind of look for the exact same play. I'm wondering how that's going to change on a map like King's Row, which I feel like is not schematically that much different. Looks like the Seadragons opting for control of the hotel right now. Wynn doing a great job of sort of canceling out. Multiple kills happening so far, and Casey Dunn's going to be the hero of this first point on the Ashe. Nothing to really contest him.
And yeah, but it's still going back and forth. Sonic gets up on top on this Ashe, has deflect ready to go on phone booth, falling very low, but Kaysen cleans up the high ground and cleans up the kills. But I mean, we saw there, I was watching Silvertail's a really awkwardly placed speed ring. Really, nobody could take advantage of it. I mean, maybe it was trying to be a bait, but all it did was allowed Wind to just run in and stomp over onto Ari and get that kill over on Brigitte. A lot of healing gone for that Malga, so we'll see if there's any adaptations here for Seadragons this time around. No more fakes, or if they stick with the same. Looks like they're going through a hotel once again, but the turrets from Allegro just melting them down as they try to walk on through. The pin are going to cancel each other on the Malgas, but Melon falling extremely low here. Has to get very healed up quickly by Silvertail. Still 1 HP. They're going to get Allegro in the meantime, but Wind 1 HP. Run back into the hotel, stomped on Ari once again. Still a 2 for 2 here as Sunrock on the high ground tried to put some pressure in on the Rain members, but there's just an all-around brawl going out here. And Tampy with 2 on the Death Blossom cheapens up on the high ground and takes down Casey Dunn finally. Alleviates the Ashe from the position, and the Roosters might just have to get point A. It looks like they will do just that, as the Seadragons only need a second time to get it through.
Yeah, and I really like what the Roosters are doing to some extent. They're like having these nice angles. The issue is they're not able to capitalize on it. They have turrets on one side, Ashe on the other side, but they aren't able to create the spacing when a 5-man death ball's coming at you, Reaper shotguns in your face, Genji dashing on top of you, and Melon just stomping right through. So they need to find a way to get rid of these cooldowns without losing players on the way, because if they can make these fight goes long, it'll put them in a great spot.
Wind goes very aggressively here with the cage. The Bob instantly melted inside Melon's cage, and now a lot of ults being thrown to the wayside almost by the Roosters. Gonna return here with the sim wall, but falling extremely weak. Can't push too far out past in this choke. A nice burn from Kaysen into the back line here, force out Tampy to Wraith. And the Seadragons are just gonna give some space for now. Await Allegro's wall to fall down and re-engage here with Ari's rally potentially. But EJ has the responsive speed ring rally engagement here, as now Wind iced in the back line, but you have the orbital ray to keep that Malga nice and healthy. Silvertails can't keep the team alive, and now finally the kills are here for the Roosters. Again, just this all-out Q fest here for both these teams in these fights, just absolute chaos. But the Roosters taking these kind of, I should say, being proactive with their almost there, gives them that point win the choke.
Yeah, and I really like what Allegro is doing at this choke as well. He used the TP to get Wind out of the cage fight, out of his own cage fight and the other cage fight as well. Put him in a more favorable position to win this fight. Another fight breaking out though right now. The Roosters showing some discipline, making the side of the Seadragons play into the turret, into these Ashe sight lines, but it looks like we're lining up for another 5v5 brawl with a lot of Qs on the cards.
Yeah, casing them with another Bob here, building them extremely quickly, pushed it right on in. But here comes the blade off from Sunrock, but Tampy's one find the first kill over here onto Allegro, the Symmetra all the way, but Melon is isolated in the back line. Losing out on that Malka's a huge turning point here in this fight as Wind goes right back on in, has cage, does it immediately, gets 3 members, but nobody there to help him out. And now Wind just melted, and all the chaos now over to right on top of this. Tampy with the zoning and Death Blossom, force him back off the point. The orbital ray will keep the City Seadragon pushing forward. Casey Dunn falling low once again. And we are just seeing the Roosters not really showing that team play we saw earlier in the season that got them the #1 seed. And honestly, Seadragon is looking so clutch here. And a nice cage out from Melon. The orbital ray and rallies are exchanged for both these teams right now. Still very back and forth, but Melon first to fall. The cage is still online. 2.49 meters are here. Tampy 1 HP can't quite get to the health pack. And now Wind with a bit of supercharge coming through. Not going to be stayed away. And now 2 minutes left in time bank and 2.49 meters remaining. Just chaos back and forth here, Warriors. It seems like one team fight after another.
Yeah, and a lot of it is the tanks are the people who are going in, either canceling pins or not canceling pins. Allegro finding another big pick there. That's kind of what's keeping the Roosters in these games, these early picks that the Seadragons cannot respond back on, because the Seadragons do want to keep that fast tempo up, keep that in-your-face style on Allegro, on Casey Dunn, so they can't find any of this value that they're getting even to this point. Now, in this upcoming fight, we're going to have a bit of a neutral one. No ultimates on the card. EJ very close to this rally, as well as Sonic Chronic with the blade. We'll have to see which one is initiated first.
Yeah, TP up on the high ground here from Tampy. Force them back a little bit here. Wind fine low, but the TP out from Allegro. Will clear the high ground. Sonic down. Can't build the blade in mid-fight here. It's a huge pick from Tukipuk. And the Roosters just getting these single picks here and there. They're keeping them in this map, keeping the Seadragons away, and now with Melon going down, no need for any ultimate series. EJ, mace to the face, finding 2 in the alleyway. You do not want to run this man in a dark alley in London at night, but I guess you have the Orbital Ray and the Blade coming back here for the Seadragons, but it's last fight territory, and you're walking into a cage from Wind, which could just shut both those down.
You're also walking into the Bob and the Rally. It seems almost nigh impossible, but with an Orbital Ray, there's always something to do. Wind sets up that TP with Cage Fight, and look at the dynamites they're able to execute off of a play like that. Now Bob gets sent in, it's ult after ult, and they're not afraid to push this aggression. The Seadragons have to use the Seadragons just have to use so many cooldowns to even kite back onto it, and Melon gets traded in the process, so another fight where the Seadragons are going to be down a tank and isolated as well. Ari's just getting blown up in another room in London, and almost no contestation available for the Seadragons right now.
They will probably have one more fight left here. They're going to have both DPS almost here. Comes the Blade out from Sonrock up on the high ground, tries to slash Casey, but thrown away by Coach Gun, not falling very low. Kaysen tries to find the kill, but EJ with the whip shot, and the Rally in the alley comes back in. Tankby keeps on back in with Death Blossom ready to go, but no kills are found. And just the clutchness of the Roosters finally showing through here on Kings Row Point B, holding them just at the end. And honestly, a really good look for them on the defense, especially how well Point A was for the Seadragons. And the Roosters are doing such a good job of using their ultimates, not only proactively, but in a way that isolates Melon. It seems that every time they use these ultimates, Melon is by himself stuck in the corner. By themselves stuck in a corner, and they just can't do anything when saving that charge to knock them to the ground. And I mean, they're just finding the weakness here of just killing the Malga first. And we saw the Ashe looks way better here on Kings Row, able to take advantage of these high grounds, really uncontestable, aside from anybody but, maybe Sonic or Tankby. But what that does is it takes a player out of the core and allows Wind to go in aggressively and kind of assert the dominance with the sim game full charge. Pneumonia's done. You've seen enough.
Yeah, that's what I was reacting to right there. He's like, oh yeah, team doesn't need me. We got Lego, we got Casey done, we're chilling. And I feel like if the Roosters are able to keep the same aggression on attack, where I feel like it's easier to keep this level of aggression, I think that's going to spell disaster for the Seadragons. It felt like even though they had some clean fights as a team, they weren't able to act as a cohesive unit, which is what they are so good at doing, which was what it looked like they were perfecting against the side of the Purple Apes. We'll have to see if these adaptations are going to pay off. You have Sonic Chronic going over onto the Echo. I like this as a pick, but against Casey Dunn on the hit scan, you have to play so safe.
I mean, the issue is here, especially on Kings Row Point B, the sightlines for the Echo, not really the best. Too many buildings, too many roofs kind of blocking off her view. So this almost feels like a hint of desperation coming through here from the Seadragons. What worked before should work again, but there we go. A very aggressive play in the back on here, speeding out of hotel, finding 3 quick ones. They do exchange out for silver towels. And who knows, that might come back to haunt the Seadragons, but they're getting the kills here, and the ultimates are building up once again. If they can keep it on point A with the Echo, it looks good.
And that was a really well-executed team fight by whoever called that. I know Ari is the primary shot caller there. For the Roosters, you need to be getting all 5 people through that teleporter and forcing no engagements. Now that you're able to set up on point, though, it forces the fight. It forces the engagement on point. Melon contests in. Tanikby's actually going to be the first one to find a pick. Catches Casey Dunn on an off angle. That's the thing that's so difficult on the attack side. It's hard for you to kind of create those angles without getting punished. And Melon doing a great job of that so far. Now, what looks to be a 3v2 in favor of the Seadragons on the point. Cardiac's exchange on both sides, but the healing and damage differential is there for the Seadragons as they're going to look to clean up Tuki Pook on the way out as well.
And a great fight there from Tankby, TPing up on Casey Dunn after using the coach gun, and making the Ashe fight on the low ground allows the team to kind of just walk down Casey Dunn. Look at Casey Dunn, only 47% to a Bob. Can't do anything here on the attack. Honestly, get one more fight, and you probably got to match the Reaper and just change it up here. The Ashe not doing nearly as hot here on the attack, but here comes Duplicate early off of Sunrock over onto another Malga, trying to build up that second cage as Melon has on lockdown, but on the lockdown made down. Just create some zoning here for the team. Maybe a bit of a wasted cage here from Melon as now Wind has his own, can walk back in and force a fight where they want to take it in case it's on sight lines. but both ultimates for supports for the Seadragons. Here comes an early Cage and Death Blossom to counter that one out. A lot of ult being viewed, but a big slam in from Wind. Knocks down multiple members, and now already trying to survive with the ride. Just not enough. Melon, they're on point, but they do not got much of a chance here. 1v5. I know Malcolm's powerful, but he's not that powerful. And you win that with just your Cage, just your Orbital Ray. They had to use Rally, Orbital Ray, Duplicate, Reaper ult, and now they have nothing to show for it. Going on to point B now, where the Echo is weaker than the Ashe.
And the Roosters aren't going to wait. They're going to take this aggressive stance already on the point. They realize maybe one got the slow spawn, and the bob from KC Dunn, immaculate as usual, forcing every single member of the Seadragons into an awful position. And you can see the cleanup there. Sonic is left wondering what happened to his team. I'll tell you what happened. The Roosters, amazing execution of those two ultimates.
Tell you what happened, Bob did something. And now you look at it again, Win close to yet another Cage, but EJ has the counter here with the rally to try to survive and sustain the team through all that pressure of the Malcolm Cage from Melon coming out here soon. So a big advantage right now for the Roosters. There is still probably about 2 fights here for the Seadragons. If they do lose this one, they have another shot. But the ultimates are few and far between from right now. Closest one is Melon with the Cage, but only 70%. Tampy TPing up, does take down Casey down, so a great start here in neutral here for the Seadragons walking forward. Melon trying to survive, but gets pinned right back in, but gets the kills and gets the healing on the cardiac overdrive. And Casey Dunn finally swapping off the Ashe, going over towards the Cassidy. Roosters trying to get out their lives here, looks like we'll do just that. But now, a big neutral fight victory for Seadragons, and now you look at almost they're in a great position to shave some time off this time back and maybe take it to overtime here for, the Roosters to cap.
Again, when you're down in ults, you want to go fast, but when you're up in ults, you want to go slow. Use those ults as a response, and that's exactly what happens there. Nice exchange of Cage fights, and Sonic Chronic still has his duplication up, trying to get the poke damage, but the Roosters, again, they have this really nice response with a kite back out, a disciplined approach, making sure that the other team invests more than they do so they can go in with the advantage in this fight. Orbital Ray invested, and that can be a fight winner right there. Ari drops dangerously low, so does Silvertals, but they have support ultimates. They can drop into this. I don't think they will, as Melon is going to fall on the point. Tanakpi gets one for his trouble, but a double slam from Wind will clean house, giving the Seadragons one last fight to contest this point.
Not too bad, though. You get both support. You get the rally, or I should say the Orbital Ray out, and the Cage last fight. So now you're going towards your own. You're going to have both support ultimates as well as Tanakpi with Death Blossom. So this looks like a fight the Seadragons should take here. If they play this smartly, only use one ultimate here, save a support ultimate for a last fight, it could be a huge game changer for him. But Casey Dunn close to high noon, marking the high ground, forces on Ron to retreat for now. But now Son back up on the high ground. Win first to fall here. High noon on the high ground from Casey Dunn, finding nothing but air. And now the DPS are getting staggered out here. But sadly for the Seadragons, use both support ultimates here, which I don't really know if that was completely necessary. They're going to walk into a wall, and another Cage out from Wind. Building that slightly quicker than Melon here could be a huge factor in what probably will be last fight of this map. Seadragons hoping to drag it to match point. Roosters hoping to avoid that fate, take it tied 1-1. But DPS ultimates, the DPS once again from Seadragons have to come up huge, and they've done it before.
And you can see Sonic Chronic looking to build up that art charge, looking for an off angle to pop this duplication, but statistically going to look for those duplications onto the Malga. We'll see if they do the same, or they opt to open up with the Cage fight, but a wall's going to come in first from the Allegro. Death Blossom to try and get a punishment onto Wind, but it's not going to be able to find exactly its mark. But Tanakpi will come in with the damage anyways, killing 3 by himself almost. With a lot of help from the team as well. And now we're in last fight territory in a situation that looked, I guess, dire for the Seadragons at the start of this map. Now with that extra punishment, icing on the cake, the Roosters are the ones in the hot seat.
Such a clutch play there from Tanakpi to find those 3 kills. Melon gets kind of isolated in the subway and taken down, but Tanakpi follows it up with 3 kills with Death Blossom. But now, no ultimates here for the Seadragons. All to use here for the Roosters. The Cage out from Wind, trying to force them back here. Melon falling extremely low on the corner. They have to get them out alive. Has the Cage just in time, but nobody's stuck in it for the Roosters. Got to opt to go back in here. Is Wind still a very close fight, but Wind falling extremely low here. Getting melted down, potentially, but Tuki Book with a clutch over to Ray. The Malgas are exchanged, but they charge here from Allegro and Casey Dunn with the help of over to Ray. 92% for Silvertals, does not get it in time, and that will be King's Row going the way of the Roosters. But my God, only sweat on their brow going into Kings Row Point B there. So close for Seadragons. And we need more maps like that, Ward. No more map 1. We need more very close overtime pushes like that going forward.
Yeah, and that was such a back and forth affair from both of these teams. It feels like when you look back at the game, or like a basketball game or like a football game, you see that, oh, 99% chance of winning for one team. Yeah, and then it's just like hops back up, hops back down, like double, triple overtimes, flipping back and forth, and the Roosters managed to eke it out in the end. Allegro doing work on the Symmetra, by the way. I have mad respect for him, able to get that charge and keep his life in the fights was really a deciding factor on Kings Row.
And yeah, if Tukapuk doesn't build that orbital rate either, in just that exact moment, that could have spelled disaster, as Millen, placed down a really nice cage, just kind of defensively, actually, just to kind of stay away from me, let me get healed up real quick. But the healing just quite was enough to get those last 6 or so % on both sport elements from Ari and from Silvertel. Again, just so close, back and forth. Game of inches here on Kings Row, but now we'll see where we go for map 3, and so will you. I'm sorry, as a break, don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. The Muskey Bowl continues after this. And welcome back, everybody, to the Robot Clash Season 6 Muskey Bowl here between the Ramshackle Roosters and the Sydney Seadragons. Both these teams exchanging blows now, officially 1-1. No 3-0s here in the semis, thankfully. Now, going on to Servasa, the first map pick here of the Sydney Seadragons in this series. And we see Corey come back in here for Tampy. Despite Tampy trying to drag his team across the finish line there on Reaper towards the end, gets sent back to the bench instead. But the Roosters sticking with what works. So both these teams have the rosters that won their respective maps in. So this is technically should be the closest map we've seen so far. Though I don't know how close you can get the King 0.B 2.4
That's
meters.
true. That was quite close. I think on both sides of the coin. But looking at these picks, we'll likely see Allegro stick to the Symmetra, and it seems like Corey's gonna swap over to the Reaper. So again, a difference stylistically in the way both these two teams play. Oh my god. Wind getting an early first pick. You want to press the aggression off that, and especially with Corey getting back a little bit later into the fight, having reduced damage from a distance on this fight, he's going to get forced out, and the side of the Roosters will get an early first cap.
We'll get an early first cap as Silent Wrong starts bunny hopping his way back from spawn, but I mean Casey Dunn and Wind just combining for those quick meltdowns of that Echo. Takes Sonic out of the way. Corey keeping up on the high ground though, trying to take some pressure down, but can't rate the way in time, and now Ari takes some headshots as well. Casey Dunn is now set up in prime position here, the catbird seat of all catbird seats, walking over the entire point, and Allegro just melting down on the point as the picks are here again for the Roosters. And ever since Allegro came in, like, they just look like a completely different team here, War. No shade towards Pneumonia, but the Allegro Sim is the glue keeping this team together right now.
Yeah, and I'll never shade towards Pneumonia, but I know we were talking about it over the break. Allegro, by the way, went for like 30K in the draft, so putting up a lot of value for his team. Also closest to the ultimate in the game, looking to get that wall up early. Well, the side of the Seadragons looking to take a different rotation off towards this right side, but again getting punished. Allegro's beam and Wind's shots are just way too strong, and Allegro comes in with the first pick. Corey forced to wraith away, and the Seadragons maybe looking to give up on this point.
I mean, they'll do just that. And honestly, just better speedrun use out from Tukipoke over there. Silvertails kind of puts it down, looking to get aggressive. But what happened was the Roosters already had their speedrun down, already walking in the back line. So what happened is you can't use a speedrun for engaging, nor can you use it for the retreat. So kind of the Seadragons caught in a really tough position there by just some well-timed speedruns out from the Roosters. And now they're going to have the Sim wall walking in this point. Silvertails close to that Juno ult, but there will be one exchange here from Tukipoke as well. So kind of down is the cage building here as Wind has a big advantage on that right now, but Melon falling so low, might even need it. Down your Malga, not a good start here, but you lose that on Allegro, lose that on that Sim damage, and never mind, down your Malga first. The overrate from Silvertail is just simply too much, as the Seadragons will take control here first on Palace.
They've been a great fight to take control. They're looking to get that punishment onto Corey, but Corey keeps that Wraith form and gets out. Not going to look for a cheeky setup position just yet with this Death Blossom and multiple ults here on the card. Both supports, DPS, or sorry, both DPS, a support ult and the Wind ult. And it looks like the bomb is going to come in first in a kiteable position, actually. That is not very typical, and we get to see early value. Corey actually gets canceled out of his ultimates. Both Malga ultimates are going to be popped on the point, as well as a Sim wall to help Wind stabilize a bit more. Every Q getting pressed, but Tukipoke still holding onto his as well. And as this fight stabilizes, you're going to see Tukipoke's ultimate pop to the perfect time, but Allegro's going to go down. Now even trades on both sides. Tukipoke trying to keep himself alive in this 1v1 against Corey, but it looks like he's going to be losing out. The point now flipping back in favor of the Seadragons, as it did flip partially on the other way. And it looks like they take control in that 4v4 ult fight.
Yeah, I mean, it gets you another fight here on this point, though. It's not too bad. A well-placed Bob will flip the point back in all the chaos, but, I mean, you can't even analyze what the hell's going on there. That's just overstimulation. That's just what your brain on ADHD, ladies and gentlemen, is just that fight right there. But now, Corey, again, in the position to just mark these chokes on any engagement here from the Roosters. Wind falling so low before they even touch the point. Corey, close to our Death Blossom here, did get canceled out last time, but no fear being up this quickly. Tries to walk on in here. Wind taking the pressure over on towards the point. Allegro first of all. Once again, Melon finding 2 quick kills. And that will probably just be Palace going the way of the Seadragons. They're going to get one for their troubles, but the point will be here. We're tied up 1-1 in Servasa.
Yep, and Casey Dunn actually manages to sneak out a second for his trouble as well, but obviously did not come to anything, and now tied up on flashpoints. We're getting back to an alt fight, one where the Seadragons are going to be very, very favored, having that Juno alt, which can easily win a fight, especially if they don't have anything to respond back with if you're the side of the Roosters. But very close to Bob, and with this early point control, I wouldn't be surprised to see them use it just to get early control of the point and force the Seadragons in an unfavorable position.
The TP in the back end from Corey does force some pretty awkward positioning here from Casey Dunn, but still has the Bob. Will cancel out kind of the Juno ultimate for now, forcing to look back at the Bob, but melted almost immediately there. But it does allow the Roosters to kind of kite around that ultimate. Casey Dunn messes up the coach gun here. Now Corey being aggressive with the Death Blossom gets punished, but the kills and damage has already been done. It's still a 4-on-4 fight here, but the numbers are finally coming back here for the Seadragons, and they have Cage, duplicate rally should they need it. But looks like they try to hold on to this one. Ray Akram took a book here. Rally from Ari to respond to that ultimate. Duplicate on Silent Rock over on towards the Malga build. My second K potentially here. Took a book, just trying to survive out of the hell that is that area over there. But still going on this fight. The Cage finally get pressed here from Melon. EJ and Allegro down, and with these two quick kills, Wind opposite hold on to the Cage for now. Just trying to get back to the spawn, but chased down by Melon. Might get taken down, but the reload is just at the wrong time. And Wind will survive with a sliver of HP and has another chance of day.
And we're back to seeing those 4 alts versus 4 alts fights from either side. Almost impossible to analyze, but all I know is Wind held on to his Cage fight throughout all of that. Allegro's going to make the swap over onto the Reaper, and if Casey Dunn going onto the onto the cast here, and Wind's going to pop his ultimate, but the Seadragons doing such a good job of brawling inside of it. Eventually, Melon's going to get pelted down by that extra range damage. And they surely they'll remember the touch point. Okay, yeah, there Wind goes onto the point, but loses EJ in the process. So still a very even fight here. Casey Dunn and Wind managing to clean up at the end, turn this point over on a sliver of HP for Casey Dunn, and now things are beginning to look a bit more up for the Roosters. Obviously, still a tall task ahead of them, holding on to this third flashpoint.
Yeah, you will the Juno ults kind of exchange here. Wind in all that chaos. Of course, Melon flying early there, getting solo Cage, allowed Wind to kind of catch up on the percentage of the Cage once again. Only about 15% or so away, so should be able to get that just about the same time. Casey with the high noon, but so many almost here for Seadragons. You gotta imagine they're in a great position here. With an early over to Ray, going to be exchanged for both these teams. But Casey with the high noon, trying to force them away, can't quite get the maximum value out of that Juno ultimate they possibly would have wanted. So good play there from the Cassidy. Of course, high noon, not really the best ultimate in this composition, but what it does is create so much space now for the team to re-engage here. Allegro close to Death Blossom, but here comes Melon, trying to build last things of those Cage here, duplicate over on the Malga as well from Silent Ronic, trying to get a free Cage out of this one, but they will not need it, as the kills are here. And despite, you know, the play there from Casey Dunn, there's just too many ultimates for the Seadragons to not come away with that point.
Yeah, and I did really like the idea that the Roosters had there, use the Orbital Ray against the Orbital Ray, but I feel like they also invested, like they had the same idea with the High Noon, and they weren't able to find the exact value that they needed because the Sydney Seadragons were just so disciplined, and they're so willing to give up their own Orbital Ray, forsake it for the idea that they'd be able to burn out 2 more ultimates. Now we're entering another fight where the Roosters up probably 1 on ultimates. We'll see if they opt to go first. It looks like Melon's going to be dropping the Cage fight first, though. Attempt for stabilization, EJ with that rally, but it doesn't matter when Ari gets so many kills because the side of the Seadragons went so early with that ultimates, and there was no real response other than the rally. The Roosters weren't even able to hang on, and they just got exploded with the damage.
Just a great play from Melon there. Early Cage, forced them away. They don't also know Corey in the corner here. Okay, they finally spot him out, but he just raced away. But great early Cage there, forces the rally, and they kill Allegro for it. They can pop Death Blossom. So, honestly, great look for the Seadragons going at this point, but they do have the Cage to deal with now. Allegro with Death Blossom inside the Cage. Nowhere to go. As, I mean, they get the Quills, and they do get Cage and Death Blossom out, but we'll probably have pretty equal in terms of percentage here, but both support must be ready to go from the Seadragons in this next engagement. Looking very good for them to potentially flip this and take it to a last fight territory on Servasa and send themselves up for a 2-1 lead. If Casey can get some value out of the high noon, might change things, but gotta be huge.
It has to be huge, and You can see how they're trying to position, they're trying to play back, they're trying to set up for a big one, but they are already a lot of pressure and gets booped down actually by Ari, and that rally mitigating all of the potential damage that KC could have done. Still trying to get one for his troubles, but Sonic's going to be there for the cleanup, and the point's going to flip right back in the Seadragons' favor, only really having to use rally and holding on to 3, almost 4 key ultimates.
And yeah, that was just a well played there by Seadragons. Hopefully it was called, so it's not getting done yet, but they TP in behind, force KC down to turn around, look at the Reaper, and that just allows Ari to just walk forward and bash the high noon out of existence. So a great just team play there from the Seadragons going in. Both Juno almost ready to go, but Corey with a big advantage here with that Blossom, with the cage ready to go, looks to pop it right in the back line. Fine 2, and that will just be a 3rd point, and that will just be the 2nd map for the Seadragons. They are at match points, 1 more away from the grand finals and pulling off an upset.
Yeah, and you can see why they really preferred this Suravalsa pick there, as Corey types GG in the chat, even though the game is in fact not over, as you said, Booney. It is currently a 2-1 series, and Corey still got game to play. Could definitely still go either way. We saw a very back and forth bout on either side for Roosters and Seadragons there. I'm wondering if the I guess what changes the Roosters want to make here. They are gonna have to put Pneumonia in on this next map. Same with the Seadragons putting in Tanikby. I mean, Booney, yeah, as you said before, I think we'll have to wait and see after this short break. We'll be right back with the Ramshackle Roosters versus the Sydney Seadragons and the Muskey Bowl coverage on Aurora Esports.
And welcome back, everybody, to Overwatch Clash Season 6 and Muskey Bowl matchup here between the Ramshackle Roosters and the City Seadragons. We're on the verge of sending our #1 seed home here. The Seadragons taking our last map of Suravasa, and now going to Shambali Monastery, almost a last lifeline here for the Roosters, as they hope to keep the season alive. But the Seadragons looking to prove a PR team right after all, with the #1 ranking in the preseason.
Dude, this is crazy. When has the PR team ever been right? And also, when has the #1 seed ever been eliminated from the playoffs or ever lose? I think either outcome we have here is gonna disrupt worlds, shake worlds, and change Aurora Esports history forever.
Feeling like the old days of Overwatch League, where it's like if you were the top 1, 2, or 3 seed, you were screwed. You were not winning.
Dude, it was over.
But, I mean, going back in here, Tampy comes back, Pneumonia as well subbed in. Corey put in the bench for his toxic behavior, banned forever. Typing GG's after the map 3 victory. Can't believe I live with this guy, but Pneumonia on the Echo here, and Casey Dunn on the Symmetra. Does Casey Dunn might have to match this Reaper here eventually, because the Symmetra was kind of struggling there on Suravasa, not really well timed on the TPs. They forced a swap early, but now they're kind of back on it, try to make it work. But Pneumonia, kind of another hero that he's known for on the Echo here. No more Mei shenanigans, but Seadragons opting for a bit of a wide rotation here up the area, but the chomps are changed by the Malgus here. But Wind is isolated and taken down very low here, getting belted down by Seadragons with the beam. And the picks are here for Sydney. They do lose Melon, but that's not going to be enough to flip the fight back in their favor, as the Roosters are forced to retreat once again, as Tanopy on the Reaper is on a tear this series.
I like how in the spawn doors, the Sydney Seadragons were like, haha, we're gonna play a Sigma Zen Moira comp. We're definitely not gonna go Mauga again. Then they go right back to being fired up like a volcano. I mean, that's what they're doing. It's their bread and butter. I think it works really well. They have Casey Dunn onto the Symmetra for the Roosters this game, which kind of denies them a lot of this long-range potential, and really Casey Dunn needs to benefit on taking these close-range fights but not getting exploded. A lot of stickies landed onto him, though, as this fight opens up.
The Malgas are going to exchange their little bashes here, but another quick duplicate build here for Seadragons. We'll be able to build this cage pretty quickly. Pneumonia is going to get melted out of their own, and now 5% away to a free cage here from Seadragons. Pneumonia falling weak, gets taken on down, and the kills are here, and so is point A for Sydney. And this team, ever since that King's Row loss, looks like it'd be on a completely different level in the Malga mirror.
Yeah, and they're looking very good. I kind of like this swap from Pneumonia over onto the Mei. I mean, it feels like you need to, I guess, find a solution that deals with both the Reaper and the Echo and the Malga. And I think the Mei is a good way to encompass all three. And also he was popping off on that on Nepal. So glad to see him go over onto that. I wouldn't expect Casey, I wouldn't be surprised if Casey Dunn switches after the wall. But with the, I guess, progress that the Seadragons have already made, it's basically one fight territory, and they want to take this early. A nice Mei wall and a Symmetra wall to try and stabilize this fight. Silvertall is going to invest the orbital array as well, and Tanopy dropping the big ultimate on top of that. A lot of ults used, but all definitely worth it for the Seadragons. They're going to end up capping through this second objective.
Yeah, they're doing just that. A speed run here on Shambali Monastery. The Roosters trying to find any answers here over onto the Orisa of all things here from Wind, trying to make something work here for the team. Try to avoid that sweep, and now the Orisa might do better for a little bit here, but I mean, just Malga is just so powerful in his current state. We'll have to see how this really plays out for him. Tickbook still holding on to their orbit array. Could be a nice advantage for them going forward here. But now the Roosters on absolute life support here on their defense of Shambali Monastery. No ultimate aside from the orbit array, and the rally for the answer for Ari here.
Yeah, and you can see it's just still the same for the side of the Seadragons. They're just pushing in so aggressively and stacking ults on top of each other. A rally to keep Melon alive and healthy, and Wind's cooldowns. Eventually, they are going to dissipate. EJ manages to get a trade, so it's going to be 4v4 here as the Roosters are showing a bit of life. A 4-minute time bank, sure, but they managed to get a nice stabilization in that fight using the rally, using the support ultimates. It's again a question of, did they use too much, and can the Sydney Seadragons just respond with ultimates of their own this fight?
I mean, I don't think so. You got the Blizzard. That's kind of the big one, right? Because now it can just lock down Melon. I want Melon to charge in. I want them to warm up and instantly Blizzard the Malga. Just take the Malga out of the fight. If the Malga dies, the fight's basically won. Now, charge in. Let's look for a Blizzard right now. Yep, Blizzard down right there. Ice is over on the Tampy. Now the Bob on top of this one to get those frozen targets. Silvertails just Michael Jackson moonwalks from the corner there. I don't know if anybody saw that one. Flies into the Bob. Bit of a sacrificial lamb there. But what I like there is they hold on to the Orbit Array. That's a big exchange. They're both DPS ultimates for the Rooster being invested there. But did Sonic use duplicate there? I believe he might have, and didn't really get too much value. So yeah, I guess not as good as I thought. Wind will have Terror Surge for a bit of extra Fortify here, bit of Fortify damage reduction, but the Orbit Array just too good from Silvertails.
Yep, and it looks like this time Seadragons are looking for a bit more of a united push. Get that countdown, 3, 2, 1. Melon taking a nice route around the corner, and Pneumonia accidentally hits the wall onto his own teammate there, causing Wind to get caught off. Good news is there will probably be at least another fight here if Tukipu can manage to escape, and no, he cannot. It's another late stagger, and I don't even know if there will be another fight. Casey Dunn has to switch over onto the Widow. Oh, good cage, and Death Blossom on top of that. That closed out the attack phase for the Sydney Seadragons, and it again looks like the Roosters have such a tall task ahead of them. Feels like the exact same as Kings Row, but I mean, they did it on Kings Row, so we'll have to see if we see some life from them here.
This doesn't feel like anything like Kings Row, though. This seems like a Seadragons domination, almost a crowning of them taking home the Crystal Quarry here soon, but yeah, they really seem to have no answer for the Roosters on this Malga composition. You know, it's always tough to see, you know, a #1 seed kind of being taken away by a meta, by a patch right before playoffs begins. But I said the Malga from the Seadragons looking so good, so clean. The team coordination on all these engagement with Melon, with Tanic B, and just the overall just rock that is this backline here of Silvertails and Ari keeping the team alive through all this pressure. Roosters, I said they're on life support. I think now they're in hospice. Like, this is looking like the end of the road here for our #1 seed in the playoffs. Really kind of losing out their gusto there towards the end of the season. They did prove Power Rankings wrong. They weren't #7 after all, but they might not be #1 at the end of the day here. Let's see. They haven't picked any characters yet. Still kind of plotting here in the spawn room. They got to find something new because obviously the Malga, the reset didn't work for them. And I'm seeing 3 of the same characters, so the plotting is not quite going as expected here. Kason will finally match this Reaper and Wind back over on the Malga. So a complete mirror match.
For the Seadragons. So cheeky for the Seadragons. Ammonia's going to figure it out, but the question is, will it pay off? A bit of a spawn hold here out from the Seadragons. An explosion of damage, putting KC Dunn in a very precarious spot in between a lot of damage here. But they do manage to kite out. They're going to lose Pneumonia in exchange. That's exactly what the Sydney Seadragons wanted. They wanted 0 cart progress. They wanted 30 seconds off the clock. And if they can keep taking fights like this, it might spell disaster for the #1 seed.
And yeah, they're still fighting here. They haven't gotten anything. And almost a minute is off this time bank already. And with how good your time bank is, 3 minutes basically on Shambhai Monastery, you're feeling pretty darn good about your chance. And Ammonia again! Taken down early. You do get Ari for your troubles, but that really is just about it. And Sydney continues to hold here, not giving any space down the Brigitte. Still no fear. Walking forward and once again forcing a fight in the spawn room. EJ down early. Pneumonia will finally get the revenge with 2 quick kills over on the DPS line, but a minute and a half off the time bank and 12 meters gained. The City Seadragons looking so good on the defense so far.
Yeah, and I mean, I watched videos about why you do that on Shambhai Monastery. I mean, look at how it set them up. We have about an equal ult fight on either side, and so much time burned off, and you still get this really nice hold on the choke. And then even if you lose that fight, you get another fight out from window where you have the high ground. A lot of options. Wind trying to deny that space. KC Dunn as well taking it away. And they're actually going to manage to push the cart through. So maybe the Roosters putting in a bit more damage than expected as multiple ults coming out on the cart and even exchange on both sides. And the Roosters are going to be the first one to pick up the kills.
Yeah, Millen will get back in the back line, and they will find Brigitte. Silvertails uses the orbit array there. I don't know about that at all, because now one rally and you get Death Blossom and orbit array out from Seadragons, so the Roosters kind of switching a bit of momentum back in their favor here at the end of point A, going into point B. They will have a big advantage. EJ swaps over onto Lucio. Of all things, no more Brigitte. Okay, go back to Brigitte. I guess it was just doing a bit of speed out of spawn. Who really knows? But Wind with an early spawn cage gets melted immediately by Sonarog with a beam, and there's really no follow-up there for the team on that cage from Wind. Bit of a confusing play there from the tank player from the Roosters. Potentially, you know, let's say probably Rookie of the Year favorite, but maybe crumbling in the high-pressure moments here of the playoffs.
And that does happen in these high-pressure moments. They do have a very nice time bank for them, though, and a good chance of getting to this third point with over 3 minutes on the clock right now. But the duplication does come in, as well as KC Dunn with the Reaper ult, but he gets exploded in return. And now the Echo duplicated ultimate. The double Reaper is paying off wonders for the side of the Seadragons, and Wind is left to attempt to pick up the pieces. There's nothing to find there.
I mean, Ori with an absolutely massive whip shot there forces the Reaper to retreat. I mean, didn't retreat, but forced them away in the Death Blossom, so they can't quite find the value, and the team just comes back and gets the kill. Just the whole man death unit. We are going to beat you to death sort of mode there from the Seadragons, taking down KC Dunn, and now no ultimates here for the Roosters. Almost a Death Blossom online here for the Seadragons, so still pretty neutral fight, but look again. Just look at the meterage here on this point. They're going nowhere fast here, War, and they're getting sent back spawn here once again.
Yeah, and it feels just like a disconnect completely for the side of the Roosters. Half their team pushing in and half their team having to try and fight through this dive, and now Wind in a spot where he's getting basically staggered out. Doesn't even get... We'll have the cage fight for next fight, but looking into the side of a cage fight from Melon, a Death Blossom from Tanikby, an Orbital Ray from Silvertails, it's more than a tall task. It feels like an almost insurmountable one at this point.
Let's say I'm going to set myself on the camera here for the high view, because we're going to see probably 8 ultimates being dumped here at once, so we got to get all of them on camera if we can. Speed rings are engaged here for both teams. EJ gets solo caged and solo Death Blossomed in the back. Kill that Brigitte, whatever it takes. And now Wind does use the cage. Catches nobody in it. And I mean, Tampy running back towards the point, trying to take an Echo down in the sky. The shotguns simply just don't have the range. And they will get that point. And I mean, you got EJ at the end of the day. Maybe a third ultimate there for get killing Brigitte, but oh, Pneumonia though going way too aggressively there. Gets punished.
Yeah, Pneumonia putting himself in that easily exposed spot. Granted, this is the part of Shambali where you kind of get this free push, so as long as the Roosters are able to stabilize, they should be in a good spot, but the Sydney Seadragons giving no opportunity for that stabilization, forcing the Roosters all the way back off of this high ground. Luckily, Pneumonia is back, and he does manage to catch Sonic Chronic, as well as grabbing this duplication. The double slam in from both Wind and Pneumonia, putting the pressure down and on the entire side of the Seadragons. So this is the time they need to, but a response Orbital Ray out from Silvertails, pushing the Seadragons forward. Pneumonia dropping dangerously low. Rallies exchanged on either side as well, and the Death Blossom from KC Dunn, attempting to clean something up but not able to find it. Orbital Ray from Tuki Pook. Now all the ults that these the side of the Roosters have are going to be invested here. They are going to pay off, but not much time bank to give for it, as the Seadragons managing to take off about 3.5 minutes on this second point.
Yeah, I mean, we saw just both Malcolm just running in there, hitting their charge, but really icing anybody or getting anybody on the ground, just kind of running back and forth, you know, like cars passing in the night. So couldn't quite get the kills they needed, and just allowed the Seadragons to stabilize for just a couple more seconds, get some more time bank off on this map. And now they're going to have a by far worse time bank no matter what here going into the end of Shimbai Monster. But Wind going aggressively here, charges in onto Tampy, takes the Reaper out. No Reaper follow-up here for the cage, and now a second Malga cage is online here for Sonic Chronic with Wind down. Just the aggression here from the Seadragons, just playing quickly, playing fast, exactly what they want to do. Just no breathing room here for the Roosters in their own spawn. As it now 1 minute left in the time bank, some ultimates ready to pop here for both teams, but a slight advantage here for the Roosters. They gotta make it work or their season ends in disappointment.
They do have to make it work. Granted, they have the ultimates and a bit of an ult rotation to do that. Both DPS ultimates are available, and Wynn's gonna go straight on into the backline, helped out by KC Dunn, and that Death Blossom is gonna get a lot of value. Now Melon's gonna be isolated. They want to get this kill, but they need to make sure they keep pushing the cart as the time is fleeting on Shimbali here. 1 fight left and 3 ultimates used, so only support ultimates available for the Roosters in this final fight. Tanikby and Silvertals can come up big if they're able to get the space they need.
Looking for a TP and onto the point. Here's going to be 0.32 meters. Tampy gets stunned out of the ultimate here. EJ, the captain, trying to bring it back, but it's not going to be nearly enough. As the support almost is simply too huge for the Sydney Seadragons. Now a 10-second timer for your season goes away. 0.32 meters is all it took for the Sydney Seadragons to end this series and send themselves over to our grand finals in a 3-1 upset, 5 versus 1 actually, maneuver as they await the winner of the Quails and Slouchers for one final showdown.
And at this point, you gotta start the talks of Sonic Chronic, greatest captain of all time, looking to do it back to back, and definitely in a position where he can. So we will, I guess, see the Seadragons in the finals, and unfortunately this is going to be the end for the Roosters. The #1 seed taken down in GWL and Aurora Esports fashion.
Yeah, well, I mean, in Aurora fashion, the #1 seed has won quite often, so a bit of an upset there not taking that home as the #1 seed. But the Seadragons, I think nobody would really accept the fact they were actually the 5th seed in this tournament because of just how records went. Like honestly, if you'd asked a lot of people, they'd probably say they're at least top 3. So the fact that they got that 5 seed, unlucky and unfortunate, but now they're in the grand final scene does not matter, as they will face either the Quantico Quails or the Slovenian Slouchers, and should be a great match either way. Now we have the enviable position here of giving out a match MVP. I personally want to give it to either of the supports for Sydney Seadragons. They were today just an absolute rock for their team, having perfectly timed ultimates, keeping Melon alive in the Malgamir, as well as just using those cooldowns effectively, and really just all-around great play from either Ari or Silvertals. I'm honestly up for either of them right now.
Yeah, I think it's hard, to, I guess, pick an MVP when it feels like the entire team is just, firing on all cylinders, you know? When you can't pinpoint things that are wrong with the team, it makes our job a lot harder because they are all looking so good. Between Ari and Silvertals, I mean, I don't know. I would say that I know in the back of my mind that Ari is their shot caller, their IGL, so that would kind of lead me towards him. But Silvertals on the Juno, obviously building those ultimates, coming in key fights. I'm up for debate either way.
I mean, I'm also kind of leaning more towards the Ari angle. The Brigitte was looking very slick for them, so we'll go see if we can get them in for a quick interview.
Oh, I got you. Ari's been match MVP once. Silvertals has been match MVP twice.
Well, there
Gotta
we go.
give it to Ari. Yup.
And
Hello.
there they are. Congratulations on the match victory there, Ari and the MVP. 3-1 on your way to the grand finals. Just initial thoughts after what was a pretty exciting game.
We shouldn't have dropped that map. We just weren't prepared. But other than that, everything else went right to plan.
Yeah, and excellent job. I know that, I guess, a lot of people talk about you being a value pick this season and your fight planning, your shot calling, your comms in game is kind of what helps the Seadragons win. Would you say that you're leading the charge, or is it totally a team effort on the comms?
I think Fitz, especially for this meta, I'm leading a lot of the ults. Because everything especially Saravasa, oh my god, there's that one point where, because I'm calling every ult they're probably going to use in ours, and what we need to do. There's one where we wanted a Juno ult, but we know if they Juno mirror, every time we Juno mirror, they stack High Noon. So we were just trying to look to kill the cast first, and it worked perfectly. And a lot of that map, I'm just calling ults, and then Malin just saying, "Can we go in? Can we go in?" And then that's how we win that mirror at least.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Conja's overall team play looking really good for you guys, and we do gotta talk about, of course, Kings Row. Just what happened on that map. You know, I guess if you want to nudge wink to the team they're might potentially be facing next week for the grand finals, what should they do against you? Just kind of what happened on Kings Row. They guys cleaned up later in the series. Kind of from that point forward, you guys look so much better.
We just threw attack. We swapped off Genji like way too late because Genji's fine in the mirror, but if you're running they really like playing B heroes. They love the Mei, they love the Sim. So if we swap Echo early, because every time we played the Reaper Echo mirror, we just look so good. But the Genji it's so hard in the Sim. But other than that, because our defense almost perfect. We threw a little because also we weren't. What they do a lot is they cage and they want you to use commit ults to win the cage fight, and then they just TP out. And as soon as we realized that, it's we stopped trying to overcommit on cages. But I think we just threw it ourselves. But the other two maps, we just win.
And speaking about the, I guess, a future matchup, we're obviously going to be either going against the Slovenian Slouchers or the Quantico Quails. Do you have a preference on who you go against? Obviously, you lost to the Slouchers regular season. You won against the Quails regular season. You played one team more recently than the other. Any thoughts there?
I mean, I think just for storyline, the Quails would be fun.
Well, cause think about it. You got Skyster and you got Sonic. You got me and Seikana, and that would be a fire matchup. Plus, I know they want their get back. They have new firepower, so I think it'll be a really good one. But I think Slouchers are a little slept on. But I still prefer to see Quails in the finals.
And I mean, with all that being said, of course, got to ask El Clasico here if you cannot be MVP of this match, and of course take home, you probably don't know this, you are new to the league, the Crystal Corey is the trophy you guys have raised winning this winning this game here. So you got the guy on your team that was named after, so it almost feels like fate to win this one. But if you cannot be match MVP, who would you give it to and why?
There's a lot of options. I think let's go Silver Talls. Just for the Juno in those fights, just being able to win every Juno fight and having a rank, every single engage, it literally just makes a difference. I think that's what I'll go with.
Oh my gosh, that's what we would.
That was what we had too. We said either support.
my underrated pick, which you can't pick on broadcast, is just Tanic B. Just because the comms and strat planning, me and Tanic B, I feel lead a lot of the strat planning for a lot of fights. So that's my other pick if I have another one.
Well, you only get one. You need to learn the rules of El Clasico, man, or you're not going to be back here for another MVP interview. But with that being said, again, congrats on the 3-1 events of the grand finals, and we hope you guys put on another show similar to that, be it against the Quails or the Slouchers. So best of luck to you going forward.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That's going to do it for us here tonight, War. Unless you got anything else to say, we can go ahead and end this and send ourselves one match closer to the grand finals. Only 2 more games remaining in Overwatch Clash Season 6 before we crown ourselves a champion. It only gets tighter from here for all 3 remaining teams. And honestly, I could not be more excited for going forward these next 2 games.
Imagine I say some very profound stuff that leads into the final 2 games. Okay, cool. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, we'll just do the kind of like the Discord action move, or we'll do the double we'll do the double asterisk War says something great here, and that we'll just call it that. With that being said, everybody, we thank all sorts for watching. There is of course one more bowl game left before our grand finals. That will be the Gollum Bowl happening on Thursday at 7:30 p.m. The Quantico Quails versus the Slovenian Slouchers, brought to you by Wind on the Prod and Corey and Firestar Boss on the cast. So of course, keep your eyes peeled on the Discord and the Twitch when we go live for that. With that being said, until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, have a great rest of your evening, everybody.